Hello and welcome to the annual stockholders meeting of OceanaGold Philippines Incorporated. Please note that today's meeting is being recorded. If you participate in today's meeting and disclose personal information, you will be deemed to consent to the recording, transfer, and use of same. If you disclose personal information to another person in today's meeting, you will be deemed to represent and warrant to Computershare and the corporation that you first obtained all required consent for the disclosure, recording, transfer, and use of such personal information from all appropriate persons before your disclosure. During the meeting, we'll have a question and answer session. Registered stockholders or proxy holders can submit question or comment at any time by clicking on the Q&A tab. It is now my pleasure to turn today's meeting over to Attorney Karina Dulinayan. Karina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Van. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The annual stockholders meeting of OceanaGold Philippines Incorporated is now about to start. We would like to remind everyone to keep their audio on mute or all participants be muted for the orderly conduct of the meeting. Comments and questions may be made by registered shareholders or proxy holders through the Q&A function of the meeting and voting portal on your screens. We would like to request our registered shareholders and proxy holders attending this meeting to raise in the Q&A function if you cannot hear and see clearly the proceedings. Otherwise, we will confirm that all participants in this meeting can hear and see clearly the proceedings. We confirm that all participants in this meeting attending can hear and see the proceedings for this meeting. Let us all rise for the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiging nagpagsilangalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y kumain, lupang hinirang, suya ka ng magiting, kamang tutupin, di ka patitigil, nagagatak tutok ng sibuyan, sa langit mo panggaw, ay tinatang tulakaw, sa pagkayang minamahal, ang ilang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihinig, ang ituwing at araw niya, kailan pa may di magtitinig, luma ng araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay ng isang piling mo. Ang higaya ng pagkaibang amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
We would like to inform all participants that this meeting will be recorded for future reference. May I now call on our President, Attorney Joan D. Adasi Katiling.
Thank you, Karina. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the corporation's board and management, I welcome you all to the annual stockholders meeting of OceanaGold Philippines Incorporated. Thank you for being with us this morning. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the directors, officers, and management of the corporation. Attending in person are Mr. Peter Sharp, Director and our Chairman of the Board, Mrs. Tomasa H. Lipana, Independent Director and Audit and Risk Oversight Committee Chairperson, Attorney Mia G. Hentugaya, Independent Director and Corporate Governance, Nominations and Related Party Transactions Committee Chairperson. Attending online are Mr. David John Bickerton, Director and Asset President of the Didipio Mine, Ms. Liang Tang, Director, Mr. Marius Van Niekerk, Director, and Mr. Gregory L. Domingo, Independent Director and Lead Independent Director. Also present with us this morning are the officers and management of the corporation, Ms. Gemma MacDonald, Attorney Karina Dulinayan, Attorney Janine Diawan, Attorney Diane Rabaya, Ms. Marjorie Idio, and Ms. Hermedia Banzuela. We also have our external auditor, Isla Lipana and Company, represented by Ms. Karina Molina and Mr. Pacholo Domondon. Our external counsel, CCP Law, represented by Attorney Rose Ann Gonzalez, and stock and transfer agent, Stock Transfer Service Incorporated, represented by Mr. Ricardo Regala and Ms. Judeline Obrigue. Before we proceed further, we would like to inform all attendees that some of the statements made at this meeting may be considered forward-looking. We caution you that results of future operations may differ from those anticipated. We urge you to review the cautionary statements and other information contained in our filings and presentations disclosed with the Philippine Stock Exchange Incorporated and/or submitted before the Securities and Exchange Commission, which identifies a number of factors that could cause actual results to differ materially from those mentioned in any forward-looking statements made at this meeting. Our chairman of the corporation, as authorized under applicable laws and the bylaws of the corporation, will preside for this meeting. Mr. Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Joanne, and good morning, everyone. I now call the meeting to order. May I now call on our Corporate Secretary, Karina, to take you through the voting process.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The meeting's agenda cover a range of matters requiring stockholders' vote and were included in the notice distributed to the stockholders as of record date being April 15, 2025. Stockholders were also given the opportunity to propose matters for inclusion in the agenda, subject to applicable rules of the SEC and the corporation's internal guidelines. There are 7 items to be voted on or acted upon by the shareholders, each of which have been disclosed and discussed in the corporation's definitive information statement, copies of which were distributed to the stockholders through posting on the corporation's website and through the PSC Edge. The relevant agenda item will be shown on screen at the same time it is being taken. Item 19 of the corporation's definitive information statement describes the voting procedures for this meeting, including the manner of voting, vote required, and method of counting the votes. The registration and voting procedures also provide the detailed process and requirements, and these were published at the corporation's website and attached as Annex F of the definitive information statement. The voting procedures are based on what is allowed under relevant laws and the corporation's bylaws and articles of incorporation. For the voting process, each stockholder shall participate and vote for each share of stock standing in their name in the books of the corporation, in person, through a proxy, through remote communication, or in absentia. Voting opened on May 23, 2025, and will close today once the meeting is adjourned. Duly registered stockholders or duly appointed proxy who have already voted in advance of the meeting need not vote again today. Voting on all matters will be conducted by electronic ballot. For this purpose, we will be using the ComputerShare virtual interface for registered shareholders and proxy holders to cast their votes on the items of business and submit questions. Registered guests or attendees can view the webcast. Pressing the Q&A icon will open the messaging facility. From here, registered shareholders and proxy holders can send in questions and comments. Please note that due to the time available, we may not address all questions sent through. If you are logged in with ComputerShare, a shareholder or proxy holder, you can switch between screens of the presentation, voting resolutions, and question and answer. If there is a pertinent question from the shareholders through the ComputerShare dashboard, I will mention this during the meeting at the appropriate time or respond accordingly as may be necessary. All matters included in the agenda are deemed approved when majority of the stockholders present, either in person, through a proxy, through remote communication, or in absentia, assented to them. This rule does not apply to the approval of compensation of independent directors and delegation of authority to revise or replace the corporation's bylaws, which will require the approval of stockholders owning at least majority and 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock of the corporation, respectively. For the election of directors, 8 directors shall be elected every year. 3 or such number of independent directors as may be required by law or regulations must be independent directors. The nominees who acquires the highest number of votes in the election cast by the stockholders present in person or by proxy shall be declared the elected director. For purposes of today's meeting, we will be reporting the results of the votes cast as of June 13, 2025, 5 p.m. Philippine time. The final tabulation of the actual votes cast for each agenda item will be validated by our external auditor, Isla Lipana and Company, and will be reflected in the minutes of the meeting, which will be posted on the website of the corporation.
Thank you, Karina. We now proceed with the certification by the Corporate Secretary of the notice and existence of quorum for today's meeting. May I ask our Corporate Secretary to please inform the body on this matter?
Mr. Chair, notices of this meeting of the shareholders were published in print and online by the Manila Times and the Manila Standard on the 28th and 29th of April 2025 as allowed under applicable laws. The notice was also posted on the website of the corporation and disclosed to the PSE through the PSE Edge. I hereby certify then that all shareholders were notified of today's meeting. Further, based on the corporation's shareholders registration process, which ended on May 20, 2025, and submission of proxy forms with deadline on June 6, 2025, and as certified by the stock transfer agent, today, June 16, 2025, there are represented in this meeting, in person or by proxy, shareholders owning 2,030,521,608 shares, representing 89.06% of the total issued and outstanding capital stock of the corporation. There is therefore, Mr. Chair, a quorum for this meeting.
Thank you, Karina. I hereby declare the existence of a quorum. The next order of business is the approval of the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on January 25, 2024. May I please call on the Corporate Secretary to present this agenda item?
Mr. Chair, we confirm that a copy of the minutes of the January 25, 2024 stockholders meeting has been uploaded on the corporation's website as required and is included as Annex E of the definitive information statement. This is also available upon the request to the corporate secretary. For this agenda, the proposed resolution is for the approval of the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting of the corporation held on January 25, 2024.
Thank you, Karina. I'll now ask whether there are any questions in relation to this resolution.
No questions received, Mr. Chair.
With no questions received, please vote now. May I please request our Corporate Secretary to read aloud the results of the votes cast?
The results of the votes cast as of June 13, 2025, 5 p.m. Philippine time are as follows. 2,030,521,607 votes in favor of the proposed resolution. No votes against or abstaining. We received more than majority votes in favor of the motion, which is 99.99% of the shares present and represented in this meeting.
With 99.99% shares present and represented in this meeting voting in favor of the motion, the proposed resolution is passed. The next order of business is the presentation of the Chairman's report and annual report and approval of the audited financial statements for the year 2024. For this purpose, please allow me to present the corporation's performance for the year 2024. The details of the report, including the annual report and the audited financial statements of the corporation for 2024, were all included in the definitive information statement of the corporation. Didipio Mine has been a strong contributor to OceanaGold's gold production for many years. It is projected to produce between 85 to 105,000 ounces of gold and 13 to 15,000 tonnes of copper with an all-in sustaining cost of $1,150 to $1,250 per ounce in 2025. This combination of producing gold and copper makes Didipio one of the great gold mines of the world, one mining process delivering two valuable metals. I am pleased to report our performance for 2024 through our five-pillar strategy. For the year 2024, we were able to produce copper within our guidance and gold at just below our updated guidance. Production continued to be impacted by the lower mining rate in the high-grade breccia ore zone, which we discussed last year, while the second half of the year was also impacted by a number of severe weather events, including 4 typhoons during the month of November, resulting in large volumes of water falling on the property. Notwithstanding the fact that we had a number of operational challenges through the year, I would like to acknowledge the excellent work that the Didipio team have done to address these challenges and position the business for long-term success. Culture really matters, and it is important that we recognise that the results of OceanaGold Philippines are fundamentally delivered by its people. Our employee engagement scores have consistently stayed within leading industry levels. We had a number of company-wide programs that strengthen the leadership skills and presence of our supervisors in the organisation. This level of engagement helps explain why we were able to overcome the challenges faced last year and why our confidence is so high for delivery in the years ahead. We have updated our annual reserve and resource estimate, and I'm very proud that we have increased our gold reserves by 12% net of mining depletion by end of 2024. The stock has been trading consistently above its IPO price for the past year, with an approximate 25% increase since listing, given where the share price is currently. Capitalising on record high gold prices, we delivered strong free cash flow for the full year 2024, allowing us to generate strong returns to our shareholders via our quarterly dividend payments. In 2024, we were able to generate revenue of $343 million on the back of an average realised gold price of $2,434 per ounce. Part of this revenue has been generated from the sale of almost 29% of our gold doré production to the Banco Central ng Pilipinas. We generated free cash flow of $109 million for the year and net income of $30 million. We also declared 3 dividends for a total of $69.4 million, or 3 cents per share to our shareholders. Our balance sheet is strong, and we finished the year with a cash balance of just over $50 million and no debt. This allows us to continue to advance our exciting exploration and growth opportunities and to improve shareholder returns. Growing our reserve and resource base in a cost-effective way is key to creating value, and we have great exploration potential in and around our existing Didipio mine. We have increased our mineral reserves to 1.23 million ounces of gold net of depletion, which equates to an additional 140,000 ounces of gold reserves after accounting for the gold mined and produced in 2024. Our reserves and resources additions reflect the benefit of continued investment in our targeted drilling program at Didipio. The successful conversion and resource additions at depth of our current operations support our underground mining optimisation work. Our progress toward reaching our targeted underground mining rate of 2.5 million tonne per annum by end of 2026 remains on track, and we are planning to release an updated technical report in the first half of 2026 that outlines that in a mine plan. With our proactive plan in place, we remain confident in Didipio's long-term value. With our 5 streams of funding for community development, our communities are able to grow with us. With our CSR and social development and management program, we are able to work with 11 host and neighbouring communities within our mine footprint. In addition, we have expanded our social influence area to share the benefits from our mining operation through our community and provincial development funds. Through these 2 funds, we deliver projects and programs to the remaining 396 communities within the provinces of Nueva Vizcaya and Quirino. I'm incredibly proud of the many talented people of OceanaGold Philippines. They really care about the Didipio mine and want it to succeed. You can see that the workforce is overwhelmingly Filipino at 97%, with 68% coming from Nueva Vizcaya and Quirino. The success of this mine is a result of the hard work and commitment of our 844 employees and approximately 1,000 contractors. So in summary, while 2024 was definitely a challenging year for the Didipio mine, we continue to focus our efforts on safely delivering our production guidance and to generate good returns for our shareholders in 2025. Significant growth potential exists through our ongoing underground mining optimization efforts at Didipio, as well as our ongoing near mine and regional exploration activities. Our success in delivering this growth will not only deliver benefits to our shareholders, but will also deliver ongoing benefits to our wide range of stakeholders, the Philippines as a whole, the provinces, the municipalities and local communities, our suppliers, as well as our employees. I'll now ask if there are any questions or clarifications in relation to these reports, and if there are none, can I ask for a motion on this matter?
No questions received, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, we move for the passing of a resolution noting the Chairman's report and annual report and approving the audited financial statements of the corporation for the year ending 31st of December 2024.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, David and Joanne. If there are any objections, please advise now. Otherwise, I'll request that you submit your votes, after which our Corporate Secretary will read aloud the results of the votes cast. By virtue of the proxy assigned to me, I would like to cast 61,555,200 votes in favour of the resolution.
Mr. Chair, the results of the votes cast as of June 13, 2025, 5 p.m. Philippine time are as follows: 1,898,157,107 votes in favor of the motion, 70,809,300 votes against the motion, no votes abstaining. The votes in favor of the motion has attained more than majority, or 93.48% of the shares present or represented in this meeting.
With more than the majority of shares present and representing voting in favour, the motion is carried. The Chairman's report and the annual report are duly noted, and the audited financial statements for the year ending December 31, 2024 is hereby approved. The next item on the agenda is the ratification of all acts of the Board of Directors since the last annual stockholders meeting on January 25, 2024. Karina, please present the next agenda item.
For this agenda, we would like to confirm to the body that information with regard to the corporate acts of the Board of Directors since the annual stockholders meeting on January 25, 2024 were included in the definitive information statement of the corporation. The relevant minutes of the meetings can be also provided by the Corporate Secretary upon the request of the shareholders. For this agenda, we propose for the shareholders of the corporation to approve and ratify all the acts made or taken by the Board of Directors of the corporation since the last annual stockholders meeting on January 25, 2024.
Thank you, Karina. I'll now ask for any questions or clarifications in relation to this item, and if there are none, can I ask for a motion on this matter?
No questions received, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I move for the ratification of all resolutions passed by the Board of Directors and all acts of the Board of Directors from the last annual stockholders meeting on January 25, 2024, and as reflected in the books of the corporation.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Tammy and Mia. If there are any objections, please advise now. Otherwise, I'll request that you submit your votes, after which our Corporate Secretary will read aloud the results of the votes cast.
Mr. Chair, the results of the votes cast as of June 13, 2025, 5 p.m. Philippine time are as follows: 2,30,521,607 votes in favor of the proposed resolution, no votes against or abstaining. We received more than majority votes in favor of the motion, which is 99.99% of the shares present and represented in this meeting.
With more than the majority of the shares present and represented voting in favour, the motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is the election of the Board of Directors and Independent Directors for the term 2025 to 2026. Karina, please state the requirements for the election of the members of the Board of Directors, and please read the names of the nominees.
The Articles of Incorporation of the Corporation requires that there be 8 directors. Since OceanaGold Philippines Incorporated is a publicly listed company and in compliance with the requirements under the Securities Regulation Code and Revised Corporation Code, the bylaws of the corporation requires that 3 of the 8 directors be elected as independent directors. As indicated on the notice sent to the stockholders last February 20, 2025, all nominations must be sent to the Corporate Governance, Nominations, and Related Party Transactions Committee from February 25, 2025 to March 12, 2025. In compliance with the corporation's Manual of Corporate Governance, the Corporate Governance, Nominations, and Related Party Transactions Committee evaluated the nominees' respective qualifications as provided in the applicable laws and regulations. In accordance with the amended bylaws and other charters and procedures, including endorsement by the corporation's Corporate Governance, Nominations, and Related Party Transactions Committee, the board unanimously approved the final list of the qualified candidates. The nominees for directors for the year 2025 to 2026 are as follows: Mr. Peter Sharp, Attorney Joan D. Adasi Katiling, Mr. David John Bickerton, Mr. Gregory L. Domingo, Attorney Mia G. Hentugaya, Mrs. Tomasa H. Lipana, Mr. Marius Van Niekerk, and Ms. Liang Tang.
Thank you, Karina. I will now ask for any questions or clarifications in relation to this item, and if there are none, can I ask for a motion on this matter?
No questions received, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, considering that the stockholders were provided an opportunity to send their nominations prior to this meeting, and considering further that all nominees had been pre-screened by the Corporate Governance, Nominations, and Related Party Transactions Committee, I move that the nominations be closed.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mia and Tammy. Are there any objections to the motion?
No objections received, Mr. Chair.
As there are no objections, please vote now. Then our Corporate Secretary will read aloud the results of the votes cast.
Mr. Chair, as of June 13, 2025, at 5 p.m. Philippine time, each of the nominee directors received 2,030,521,607 votes. This is 99.99% of the shares present and represented in this meeting. The 8 nominee directors all garnered the highest votes.
With the 99.99% votes of the stockholders present and represented in this meeting received for each of the nominee directors, I hereby declare the 8 nominees elected as directors. Congratulations to all nominees. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of an external auditor for the year 2025.
Mr. Chair, I move for the appointment of the accounting firm of Isla Lipana and Company, a member firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers International Limited, as the external auditor of the corporation for the year 2025 be approved.
Mr. Chair, I second the motion.
Thank you, David and Joanne. Are there any objections to the motion?
No objections received, Mr. Chair.
There being no objections, please vote now. Then our Corporate Secretary will read aloud the results of the votes cast.
Mr. Chair, the results of the votes cast as of June 13, 2025, 5 p.m. Philippine time are as follows: 2,030,521,607 votes in favor of the proposed resolution, no votes against or abstaining. The votes in favor of the motion is 99% of the shares present or represented in this meeting, Mr. Chair.
With the 99.99% of the shares present and represented voting in favour, the motion is carried. Isla Lapana and Company is hereby declared to be the corporation's external auditor for year 2025. We now move on to other matters, and we have two agenda items here. May I please call on our Corporate Secretary to present the two agenda items under other matters.
We would like to inform the body that the two agenda items under other matters were included in the definitive information statement. The first item is on the approval of compensation of independent directors up to a maximum amount of 1 million pesos each. This will be determined by the management and based on the performance of the corporation. The second item is for the approval of delegation of authority to the Board of Directors to amend, repeal, or adopt new bylaws of the corporation.
Thank you, Karina. I'll now ask for any questions or clarifications in relation to this item, and if there are none, can I ask for a motion on this matter? For good order, we will first take up the approval of compensation of independent directors up to a maximum amount of 1 million peso each, as will be determined by the management and based on the performance of the corporation.
Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of compensation of the independent directors.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Joanne and David. If there are any objections, please advise now. Otherwise, I'll request that you submit your votes, after which our Corporate Secretary will read aloud the results of the votes cast.
The results of the votes cast as of June 13, 2025, 5 p.m. Philippine time are as follows. 1,825,270,799 votes in favor of the proposed resolution. 163,684,108 votes against, and 41,566,700 votes abstained. The votes in favor of the motion has attained more than majority, or 80.06% of the standing stocks of the corporation.
With the majority of the votes cast in favour of the motion on the compensation of independent directors, the proposed resolution is passed. I'll now ask for a motion for the delegation of authority to the Board of Directors to amend, repeal, or adopt new bylaws of the corporation.
Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of the delegation of authority to the Board of Directors to amend, repeal, or adopt new bylaws of the corporation.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Joanne and Tammy. If there are any objections, please advise now. Otherwise, I'll request that you submit your votes, after which our Corporate Secretary will read aloud the results of the votes cast.
The results of the votes cast as of June 13, 2025, 5 p.m. Philippine time are as follows. 1,825,039,999 votes in favor, 163,914,908 votes against, 41,566,700 votes abstaining. The votes in favor of the motion has attained 2/3, or 80.05% of the total issued and outstanding stocks of the corporation, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Karina. With more than 2/3 of the votes cast in favour of the motion, the proposed resolution is passed. Are there any other matters any of you wish to discuss? If there is none, the Chair will seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move that the meeting be adjourned.
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Any objection to the motion? There being none, the meeting is hereby adjourned. I hereby declare that voting is closed. The final tabulated votes will be included in the minutes of meeting that will be published on our website. Thank you, everyone, and good morning.
This concludes the meeting. You may now disconnect.